ladies. Welcome to Sports and Mimosas Girl Chat. We are back. Hey, Meredith, all the way
Hey,
in Dallas.
in the new
Welcome.
background.
Yeah, yes, we have new artwork for Meredith in her
Yes.
background. Um, but welcome, you guys. We are at the end of March, but in the thick of March madness. And it has really been mad and
Yes.
crazy.
Definitely put the mad in madness because
Yes.
every
Yes.
day it's something else.
Right. So if you guys don't know, we are in the Sweet 16. So we have narrowed it down to 16 teams left, both on men and women, and they both start tomorrow. I think no one had games today because people had to travel, I'm assuming, and getting in because now they're in. No, there'll be another move when they get
They
down
had
to
to
the
transfer
four.
because like I know
Yeah.
that LSU like hosted and
Yeah.
whatnot. The seeds are like hosted and now it has to go to like different arenas. So
Yeah. So for women's for sure are in Spokane. And then I think they go to Arizona for the
that sounds
eight
about right.
or four when it gets down to the final four and then the championship. And then the men, I think, are in San Antonio, maybe Tampa, I think, are where they're going to go. Um, but yeah, so we're going to start there with March Madness because that's all that's going on. We still do have NBA starting or NBA going on. But right now, I think it's all college basketball. And I know I have been paying more attention to the women's side. What about you? What's your
I feel
madness?
like it's just happened that way. And it's nothing against like I know that there are storylines on the men's side, but I care about the women more, I think, the women just have my attention
More
more. Like
excited.
I think that um there's more prospects, I think, in my eyes on the
Yeah.
women's side that I don't know. Because like
Well,
we
the
have
only,
Paige, we had Gigi, like we just have people that
yeah,
yeah, we've been
I
watching for so long that are finally kind of
getting
in their
there.
moment that it's like,
Yeah.
oh, well, I want to see what happened. Like, yeah.
I think the only thing exciting, well, for me on the men's really was McNeese and their
I
and
know.
their manager. So if you don't know, go look it up. I can't even say his name. It's like Amir or something like
Hmm.
there.
Something like
But
that.
McNeese made it past. They made it to the 32, which was maybe the first in their
I think it
history.
was the first time in their history,
Yeah,
which
in their school
like, yeah.
history, which was good.
And I just
But
love Will Wade. I'm gonna
yeah,
forever hate that he got taken away from us.
so Will
But
Wade was
I
the basketball coach at LSU men's
and he got fired slash kicked out of the
for
SEC
cheating.
because for cheating when she was really doing what everyone else was doing, but he was caught on a wiretap for doing it.
That's why you don't
And
get caught.
but like y'all, that man and his brain and how he can do things with basketball
And
organizations
I
and
don't
he's
even think he
leaving.
played really.
I don't
Like he
think he
was like a
did.
manager.
Yeah, I
Maybe
think
that's
he
why his
has that
manager is
kind
so
of a
popular.
background. But
Yeah.
he changed, I think, LSU basketball to bring it back to like
Hmm.
a really like again it's never going to be like the Shaq era or the Pete Maravich era,
But it
but
got
he
exciting
got it on the
again.
map
Yeah.
and I miss that man. And then he went to McNeese, so it was like, okay, he's still in Louisiana. And now I think he's going to like Kentucky or Kansas, whatever K state.
Yeah, he's going
And I
somewhere
am
else.
so upset. And then like he had that moment in the locker room with all of them, and it was just so I don't know. Like I'm
Yeah.
getting emotional even thinking about it because
Because I think it was already announced he was leaving prior to
it like
them
announced like
losing
either
the
two
second
days
game.
or day before,
Yeah.
and they went out and like and again there was like kind of the underdog. The manager is like already having like NIL deals
Yeah, and
or
I don't get
whatever,
where
but
that started from. Like, so
he
it said
was
he
really
walked
big
out.
with this boom box, and I think
Yeah,
everyone like got behind it. You know, the Gen Zers, like everyone has TikTok now. Like
he was
he
popping.
probably just like was a slow media day, and he just blew up, and
He hit it
so
on the right time.
yeah,
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 he has what is it, crumble cookie or a cookie, maybe insomnia. One of
I
the
can't
cookie
remember.
things.
He's got cookie. He has like TurboTax.
Under
He's got like
Armour
Adidas
or
or Under Armour,
Adidas.
one of them,
One,
because they got him the sweatsuit
yeah,
that he had by game two. Like, all because
yeah,
he held up a boombox and he popped him up. But there was a really cool Jordan Rogers, not Aaron Rodgers' brother. Jordan Rogers, he's a former marketing exec for Nike, and now he has his own stuff. And he did a really cool like compilation of like just how great you can like make your brands. Like it doesn't have to be on the team,
yeah.
or it doesn't have to be a player. Like kind of like thinking about outside the box. Like this could
Well,
be
they
your brand,
did,
like kind of situation. And it really took off. And I just, yeah, my marketing
and
brain
he
ate that up.
and I think he might be like the first. Like he's not in the transfer portal, but he
Hmm.
transferred. He's a grad assistant, I believe. So manager, I think he's might be in grad school. I don't know.
Hmm.
Maybe not. Maybe I'm making that part up. But anyway, he
Again, I
is.
stopped paying attention because they're
Yeah,
not in it anymore.
he's
So,
going with Will Wade to his new school
is he
to be the
really?
manager. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And who like ever has like a manager transfer goes with you? Usually like your top players may
That
follow
is
you,
wild.
but he is transferring and he's going to the same school that Will Wade is to be the manager. So we're not done with him for sure.
I, no, I'm really
um
excited to see what Will Wade does with another organization because
yeah.
the man
Yeah,
knows
he
what he's doing,
knows.
and he is shown to take organizations that are underdogs and build them, and I just
Yeah.
think that
And
that's
again,
going to
his
be
background, I don't remember it all, but I don't think he's like the former player or something like that that you think like it was kind of like Mike Daniels, like
hmm.
started out like assistant or grad,
Yeah.
something else on the team that had nothing to do with playing and just worked his way up. But he has that great mind. But yes, so that's the most I've really been paying attention. Minus
Going
the
to North
Yukon,
Carolina. Sorry, it was the other end of it.
North
Wait, what did I
Carolina.
do? Yeah. Why did I think it was a K? My bad, guys. It
So
tells you
North
how like
Carolina, that's
how
where he's
I'm not
going.
like associating with it. I'm like, no,
I think the only
no.
other top headline was that Yukon lost. Um,
Yeah, that was wild.
and they were the past two champions
Yeah, because like right now,
in
Duke is
men's.
the only,
Yep.
is it
Which
ACC?
whoop whoop.
Again, I don't know, but like
Yeah,
they're
they're
the
in
only
ACC.
one and like number one seed like left in it. It was like
Yeah.
kind of just been wild.
Yeah, so they've had some upset. But let's get to the
He,
most
Will
exciting.
Wade, began his career as the student manager.
Yeah, see, just like this guy. So maybe that's why
Yeah.
um
Oh yeah, maybe. Maybe that's what he,
he's
yeah.
like, "Oh, yes,
That's
you
his
can do
mentoring right there.
it."
Yeah.
But that is like inspiring, I think, for Will Wade that like you don't have to be in an upper position or like you can work your way up and then end
Yeah.
up as a head coach or
Awesome.
whatever you're in. Like you just got to work hard and know your stuff. So yeah, they'll be going there. But onto the exciting side,
The
women's.
women's.
Yes. I went to the one of the LSU games. That was pretty exciting. The Florida
They
State
like
one was
dominated it.
scary at
The what?
first.
Oh
The
yeah.
Florida
Well, they
State
always
one.
do that to us. They did
Yeah,
that
that
last
one.
year. I remember I went to one and I was like, we like barely beat Rice. I was
Yes,
like,
I
what
was
are
at
we
that one too.
doing?
Yes. I was like, "Oh my God, what are we going to do in the rest of this if we are
Yeah, I was like,
struggling
this is
right
our
here?"
beginning.
Yeah. But I mean by the second quarter, the second half like they were blown out, but
Right.
we're down to 16 on that side and we still have our number ones. I think all their top seeds are still there. Um were there really any upsets yet? I'm trying to
I don't
think.
think they've been, I mean, Iowa was out very early, but like no one, I don't think that was an upset, but I think it was just
No.
kind of like
But none of
the
our
Caitlin
top seeds
Clark's
I
former
think
team.
have gone out yet.
No, I think that again, that's why women's I
Yeah.
think is a little bit better because that they everyone's
Yeah.
like owning it, owning their spot really.
Yeah.
Um, I'm trying to think if there's been, yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so. But if you guys haven't been
There
watching,
was an insane two overtime
oh,
with
Maryland was
Bama
an upset.
in
Or,
Maryland.
yeah, I think they were
But
upset.
it,
Wind
I think
shocker.
I don't know if it was upset because they were like 4 and 5, So I don't
Oh
know if it
yeah,
was,
a shocker though,
but
but
it was
because they were
like
down
two
so much.
overtime, like insane. And
I
again,
think
I
at
don't,
half they were
yeah.
down by a lot that you didn't
Yes,
think, and then they
yes.
came back and tied it or something like you said overtime, and then you look back at the score and you were like, if you stopped watching at halftime, you would have thought
You would have
Maryland was
never, which I think
gonna
is just like
win.
such a testament of how, I think about this that I'm like, if you're Maryland and like say you're like this is fourth quarter, like not even the first overtime or the second overtime, and you have challenged this team, like you've already
To
done the
get
hard
caught up.
part. You know what I mean? Like you've already, oh, we might as well just keep going. Like I always just think
Yeah.
like the one who makes the comeback has the advantage because it's like we're just going to have to keep doing what we're doing. You're
Put
the
your
one
head on
who's
that
having to
high.
step it up. You're the one who's like out of
Yeah.
practice and stuff. So I kind of think, and I don't like that girl in Bama, and I don't have any scientific reason behind it. I
You just had
just
that
don't like
vibe. You get
Bama.
that vibe from.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
that I think
and it's Bama.
LSU
And I just
will
think like
definitely do that
no.
because
And
Alabama is
then
the
so anytime Bama goes out, I'm kind of like,
yeah.
okay. But Nick
Um,
Saban's not there anymore, and I don't have to root for him.
cheer for him.
Yeah.
um,
But that was, I
but
think, the first like kind of nail biter that we
yeah,
kind of got a taste of. And then, sorry, now it's all coming to me. I really have been paying attention, I guess, because Haley Van Lith beat
yes,
her former team. Who was
Louisville.
it? Louisville. I was like, was that K State, K State. They and she's been kind of having her like moment
Yeah,
that I think
her press conference was really like I like shed some tears because she after that win, she was just saying like it's all on God, like he brought me through this and he is the reason I'm here, and that she's just had so much
she really
turmoil through her
has
career so
had,
far.
which
Yeah.
is wild because like if you look at her accolades, like like she was on the 3x3, like Olympic, like she did stuff. And I would love to hear anyone who like looks into the science of like why LSU is just such a weird environment for her. Maybe not environment, but
Well, I
like
don't think
just kind of
Kim was using her in the right position and didn't
okay.
want to move her because
Because
I
like
think
everything was like how she was
already
guarding
set.
Caitlin Clark and everybody was like
Yeah.
defense is like her biggest thing. Because like at the same time, like she what and I guess that just kind of speaks to Flage and like Angel that like Haley is so good, but she wasn't our star, like our number one player, like at the same when she was with
Yeah.
LSU. So I think like that kind of just speaks to amplify Angel and Flage because Haley wasn't bad. She just to have that team that we
Yeah.
had, it was like, oh, you're not the biggest, you're not the best
Yeah.
because we have this. And so to see her go to TCU, is it TCU? Is that where she
Mhm.
went?
Mhm.
And I probably should know that as I'm
What is
in
that? The Horned
Texas.
Frogs or
Uh,
Horned Frogs?
yeah, that
You got to learn your schools out there now.
I know, like all the purple and like I'm like okay, um, but to see, I don't know. I think that like because like in the off season she got to go to the Olympic, like she did all this
Yeah.
other stuff that like again
No,
she was
yeah,
never
she's
bad. So I
no.
think like for her to have gotten all that stuff thrown at her that like. It was like again, like she had that one game against Caitlin Clark, which again goes back to Coach Mulkey because she wasn't utilizing her the way that she was supposed to be.
Mhm.
That like to see her have this kind of story has
Yeah.
been fun to see. I mean, I don't want them to win, but like
You could get as
I
far
like
as
to
you can until
yes, I'm like
until
you can
you
go as
get.
high as you can, and I think like having that victory over Louisville, like I think it's a good. I mean, I won't be mad if she wins, but I just think like I want Paige and like or the LSU. I have some storylines I would rather go
Yeah.
farther than that.
Yeah, I do want us to talk about some of those storylines of where we see because there's a lot. So one storyline has switched now for me,
Oh, yeah,
USC.
yeah,
So if you don't know Juju Watkins plays for USC. Last game to go into the Sweet 16, she tore her ACL in the first quarter, which that was a big blow. But I guess this is where, not I guess, but this is where the storyline switched for me that I'm still like, yes, win USC or get far. I want them at least to get to the four, the final four, um, because they rally back and those, oh, those girls really, sorry, my Instagram came on. Those girls on the USC team really came back and like played their heart out. And USC, they were like saying Juju plays at least 30 to 35 minutes a game. So there's rarely any time that she's not on the court. And it was some number, I don't know if it was like 128 minutes or something like that. Um, that they've been with Juju. Whatever it is, they're not used to not having her on the court. So they rely heavily on her, and she is the center of that team. And for her to be out with this kind of injury is scary. So they won that game. They're going to the Sweet 16. And so now I'm scared, like, okay, are they going to make it? But then I want them to because so many players came up to the lead to lead the team, like Kiki. Um, so I just really want that storyline to go to. But then, you know, LSU, we want them to get one too. But I'm also a little nervous and don't know if they can make it past um maybe the eight. I don't know.
Because well, we got to the eight last year,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And we lost to Caitlin.
Iowa. Yeah. To get
Which
that
like,
girl.
wait, what?
I said that girl.
Yeah, I was like, oh,
And
I
that girl
didn't want to
from
say
that
it.
time,
I
not
didn't want
her
to say
now.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't want to say it. I was like, okay.
And it's not
And
her
then,
personally, but just that.
and it would have been a completely different game if Angel didn't get fouled out. I'll stand by that till I die. Um, but I do think, I don't know, like I kind of, I want LSU to go far.
Hmm.
For Flage, I just feel like to see like her growth since like 2 years ago and like how she's had to carry this team.
Yeah, because she
And
stepped up as the main.
yes, like I think she
Yeah.
has. And then we got Anissa Moore. Like we got just so many great
And this is her last
girls.
year.
I know. Like I
And I
kind of
like that.
just I want them to go far. Like it's like one of
Yeah.
those things where it's like they haven't had the year, and this just comes with it. Like I feel like we always are going to compare it to like the first year, like when we were the underdogs and like the bad guys and whatever. Like there was just a different fire with that team that, or maybe there's just like different attention because of course that was also the first year that women's was probably outperforming the men's,
Yeah.
like attention wise, that like there was that kind of thing that maybe like altered my brain with like, oh, I just don't know if we have that team again. I don't know if we have that team again. But I do think we have a lot of, I don't know, I just want us to go far. I like the
Yeah.
storylines. And then I also like Paige Booker's. I think we've been waiting for her.
And that's
And
another
like I
thing.
saw that press conference when he walked. Like, did
The
you see it with
coach?
her and her coach?
Yeah.
Like we really have seen her grow, and I kind of think I want to see her on the big stage. Just like
Yeah.
I feel like she's kind of like maybe it's the blonde, maybe whatever, but like I feel like we watched Cameron for a long time last year. So when
Yeah.
Cam like you
But
kind
I
of
think because I think was Paige at ACL too, but like it would have been
yes, Paige got
Paige
hurt last
last
year,
year,
so we
and
couldn't.
so now you want to see her this year. Yeah.
Yes, so like we had yeah. So I think like just there's like all these like ooh I won't be mad if this happens. I won't be mad
Yeah.
if that happens. Like LSU's my team, but it's also like, and then you're like, oh, is South Carolina gonna come back and like redeem again? Like,
Yeah.
but I
That's a
also feel like they,
Texas though.
yeah, like, okay, so I'm so glad you said that because I'm like, I don't feel like South Carolina is dominating the news like they had
No,
in the
it's
past.
very
Like,
quiet.
yes.
Yeah,
Okay,
and
that
they're
makes me feel a little better.
winning.
So, like, maybe that's why when
Yeah.
you ask me, like, have I been keeping up with it? And I'm like, I don't know, like, maybe. And then now I'm talking about it.
Cause yeah.
No, I just think it's a different. I think again they have all these other like nobody wants to talk too strongly about one team because it's like, oh, but this one is
Yeah,
doing it
it's
like kind of,
and there's so many stars, and then just over the last week, so many. Like, every team has like their main star that I know obviously more on the LSU because we watch them so much more. But you have like the one, but now these other supporting um leads on these teams are coming out, like Kiki off of USC, from UCLA. Oh, I can't think of her name, but she transferred from Stanford, and she's
Mhm.
this real tall girl. I don't know if it's Lauren,
Oh, I know what you're talking
but
about.
you you're seeing these other ones too, and it's like, oh my God, there's more amazing. Well, of course
Yes.
there's more amazing because these teams wouldn't be like who they
Yeah.
are, but yeah, I'm just like excited for it. And the more storylines that you see, the better. And again, we're seeing those storylines with the women's team that I think that had been missing, and why the sport wasn't as popular on both college and the WNBA side is you didn't have those storylines to connect to the players like you did on the men's side. There was
Yeah.
always storylines and like, oh, let's talk about this person and their connection. But on the women's side, you're getting that now. And I think Texas, is it Texas has oh my God. Why does that not want to go off?
Right.
I'm trying to get the father and daughter coaches. Is it Texas? Do you know what I'm
I
talking
don't
about?
know. I haven't seen that storyline.
I'm gonna have to find that. I should have pointed that out. But that was another storyline, and I think that's with Texas. That was um pretty cool. Let me see if I can find that. Um but yeah, so if you're not watching women's basketball, for sure the March Madness, please tune in tomorrow. It is on all day. So it sucks that it's some of the stuff is during the day. So I'm glad I'm working from home because I can have it on
Right.
the back end. I'm gonna have to find
We
that and
have
share it.
we have like a
But it's getting good.
community like place like where we can go get coffee and everything in the building next to us, but it's all connected. And like the TV has been nothing but March
Oh, I
Madness.
love it.
So
You
just
work at
like,
the great
oh, I
place.
was about to say, oh, nice to know I could just like take my laptop down here whenever I'm just like, need to go for a walk.
Yeah. And see, it's all the talk in the workplace. So, again, why we started this is to empower and to inform women of sports so that you can have these conversations at work or at least know what is being talked about.
Right.
So, I'm sure March Madness is being talked about. People have brackets. Um, so, yeah, so tune in tomorrow because that's when both of the Sweet 16 start, but there are going to be some good games. South Carolina is playing Maryland, who we just talked about, so they might be done. But there's going to be some big, and Tennessee
Whoever
is
times
playing
it.
Texas. That's going to be a good game
It
too.
is.
Tennessee and Texas,
Okay.
so that should be a good game. Um, so yeah, watch that. While we're still on basketball, we're recording this on Wednesday, and the Lakers are playing in their fourth seed for the playoffs. So we are getting down to the playoff time in basketball. We're not at the end of the season. We might, I think next week is the last of the season. We're coming up on the last of the season, regular season, and then we're going into playoffs. And thanks to Meredith's guy, the Lakers have been doing great, and doing well, and we are
We did lose
fourth
Monday.
seed. Yeah, we've lost some, but
Yeah.
we still have moved up quite a bit
No, they're
with
fine.
Mr.
No, they're
Luca.
fine. We're fine. Sorry, I have to get saying we're fine. I don't know. I'm like I still don't know who I'm supposed to cheer for.
Did you see they said AD was golfing and smoking a cigar? I don't know if it was today, but he's hurt. So if you guys don't know, AD, who we switched for, is
So
hurt.
for those of you who don't know, the Mavericks went from going to the finals last year to possibly having to forfeit games because half their team, majority of their team is injured. Kyrie is out with an ACL tear that he did have
Oh, that
surgery
was
on, but
so
I got to see.
sad.
I
I hated that
Literally.
for him.
So, okay, so everyone's
It's like the
joking.
ACLA year, ACL
Yes.
year. Like
So
everyone
I got here. I moved in on Saturday
to Dallas.
to Dallas. Sunday, I think Kyrie tears his ACL. I can't remember what day it was. And then like this bizarre storm comes through Dallas and I am just like, what is
Do I need
going
to
on?
go home?
Like what did I bring with, because I'm very like positivity, flow, all this stuff. And I was like, what did I just come
Hurricane
into?
Meredith came
With
through.
like now I have dust storms and then my one team, my one athlete who I had gets hurt and I'm like, okay, we're just gonna have to, it's not the year. But anyway, so like Kyrie got hurt. Clay Thompson
Was he
was it Clay
already out?
Thomas? Sorry, I was with Clay.
Thompson.
Is he wasn't
Yeah.
he like had like a strain or something. Like there was something with him, Lively, like all these people where they were like, how are y'all gonna play? Like there was a time when like they had to like everyone we only had five healthy people
Yeah.
and they weren't even our starters. Like it was like random ass people and they were
Was
like,
that then when they showed like there was only 5 guys out on the warm up? That was
yes,
their team. Yes.
yes. Who else would
And
it
no
be, Aaron? Who else
and no
lost
one
their whole,
was in the audience either in the stands. It was
it
and
is like,
normally you have
oh,
a
like
handful
when I
in
tell
there.
you, no one knows who they are. No one knew who was playing. It was like, who's this guy? So yeah, that's like where the Mavs are. So, and I do know that they've been very vocal about how like they don't like the fire Nico chants anymore. But like, I'm sorry, Nico, you're about to have to do something to like redeem this team because to know
Yeah.
that we were finals bound last year with Luca and to know that we are nowhere near it.
Yeah, you have
And
to do
then like
something
AT
else.
came back on Monday
Oh, he is
and
back. Okay.
I don't know if he had like a great game. I know they won. And now this is what pisses me off. Sorry. Because then they're like, oh, well, is it too, like they had like the Lakers lost Monday and AD comes back and they win. And now it's all like, ooh, is it too early to say that the Lakers won the trade? And it's like, stop doing it. They obviously won the
We
trade. Like,
already said
shut
that.
up. Like, that's
We
where
said
I'm
that
like, I
before
just,
Luca even dressed. It was like
yeah, like,
Luca's coming, like we won.
yeah. So I was like, oh shit. Like, I
And we
remember,
did
like,
love
as someone who
AD,
was not a
but
Lakers fan, as someone who, before she followed the Lakers, was like, oh, they're going all the way now. They're going,
and so the reason why he left is because they said he was out of shape and not doing what he was
I do
supposed to be
think he
doing.
has lost weight.
But I was just about to ask you, he does look smaller, but there was
He
something
looks
I saw where he lost
really good.
35 pounds since
Yes. But like that's
starting.
what everyone said that like weight like Bill Simmons was talking about how like this is doing the whole like waking the sleeping giant situation because like now you're gonna send him to the healthiest state
And with
in the
LeBron,
league
like,
where like he's gonna work with LeBron to be like, hey man, instead of this, drink this or do that. Like you're giving him a guru of like what he needs to fix.
yes,
So like you don't think, and I do think he looks. But
he
I mean,
does look
like,
smaller. I don't know if
and
it's
the
been
whole joke was
35
like, if you
pounds,
look like
but
that and you're hitting like triple doubles every game, I don't care what you weigh. But it's like, oh, now you're gonna really give them anyway. So that was
yeah,
my whole
because
thing.
yeah, to go with him, because if I could have an athlete train me, it would be Tom Brady or LeBron, and they're not
Yeah,
my favorite people.
I
But
don't know if I'd want Tom Brady because I'm gonna eat candy, and he isn't like you know what I mean. Like I'd be like,
but
okay,
still,
Tom.
you know, you're the day you go in and work out and that kind of stuff, it's gonna
Yeah.
be
I'd be like, teach me to work
legit.
out. You don't have to teach me like do half your nutrition for me. I don't need your
You can
whole
give me,
nutrition.
but I'm gonna cut this plan in half.
Like I'm gonna bring this to ChatGPT and I'm going to be like,
What was
Mother,
it? Avocado liquor or something they were
yes,
saying?
like it was stupid stuff that
Or
you
was it a
just like
margarita? What was
have to
it?
know that they are brilliant, but they are weird as hell. Like
Yeah.
you just know that they are
But
so
I
dedicated
think
to the game that you're like, wait, I'm sorry, you only have like 6 almonds? Like what? Like
who eat like no, I can
you
no.
know what I mean? Like yeah,
But
like that's where it's like,
I think
okay,
LeBron
have your Super Bowls, babe.
yeah. I
No.
think LeBron at least drinks wine because he has
So
wine
that's
in the
what they
wine
were
club.
saying because like
So
I think
I'd be
obviously
on
Luca's a
his
beer
regimen
guy,
then.
and they were like, he'll probably be like, Luca, instead of beer after games, let's have
Have
some wine.
wine.
Like do all these things that, yeah.
And
And then
that's
it's
crazy
came
because
out.
that could have only been one beer. One time Luca had a beer,
Oh
and
no, I think he was pretty, which is like funny because like all these pictures are coming out of
but
like
I'm saying like that's all we
Dirk in the
saw.
like in the early aughts and stuff like that, and they're like, thank God they didn't know what like Dirk was doing in his spare time,
But they made it seem like
and
he was going to the arena with beers all the time.
yeah,
Like that
well
probably
they would be
wasn't the
like
case.
acting, yeah, and then well now it's been released that Mark Cuban didn't know, and like he like obviously Mark Cuban didn't like I mean he's not
About the
majority owner
trade.
anymore, but like he was just like I think he found out like I think he was like told and then like details like just came out that he wasn't aware of like all like at the last hour.
Of the trade and
And
stuff.
yeah, and
Yeah.
so I think that I'm glad that is, but I'm like, hey dude, you have enough money, buy this team back.
I
Like
know. Why did you even give it away?
I think
Like
he
he was one
is
of the most fun owner.
somebody, and like they kind of talked about that because they were like talking. That was like kind of the whole, like again, Jordan Rogers did it, and it was like the Mavs had this franchise that like we had an owner who didn't sit in the boxes, but like sat 6 rows up and didn't really act like a pompous like oh like we had Dirk, we had all this like it just kind of felt like a fun place to
Mm-hmm.
be, and then to have all of that be taken away like and I think they said something about how I think Mark gave up some of it because I don't think he like wanted to put that on his kids. Like I think it was somebody mentioned like
Oh, for the
the
future, he was
long
just
game of
prepared.
like
Yeah.
yeah, like I think it's kind of like hey, I don't want to like I don't know if like his kids didn't want to go into like is kind of to avoid a genie bus kind of situation. Like I don't know, but they said
He
something
could have
about
did.
like
He could have did
I
like
think he had done it for a long time.
yeah.
Yeah.
He could have did like Gail Benson, and you just have someone that will do the sale when you're gone
Well,
if your
look what
kids
that's
don't want it.
going.
Well, but Mark is a. I don't want
Look
to
how
say he's
Gail's
smarter
running
than.
things right now.
I don't think he's smarter than Gail, but I also think Mark went in this knowing Gail came in married to it, and then she had to step up when her husband passed.
Yeah.
Um, and then they don't have kids, but yeah. Um, Speaking of Genie, so this is a little bit off, but it's sports related. Have you watched Running Point?
I haven't because I don't have Netflix, but I
Oh,
need to borrow my parents because everyone tells me I would
yes.
like it. So,
If you have not seen it, please see it if you have Netflix or find
yes.
an account. I don't know if we can say that on here, but they're your parents, so I think that's fine.
Yeah.
But definitely watch it. It is a great show, and it's loosely based off of the Lakers and Jeannie Buss. And
Yeah.
I think she's part in writing it, but it's hilarious and it's good. But Mindy
Kaling.
Kaling, I think is how
Hmm.
you say her name. I love everything that she does. So she did a great job. So yeah, you mentioned
I heard
Jeannie,
it.
and it just made me think
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so tomorrow is a big day, especially in your. I don't know if that's your number one sport, but one of your favorite
It's
favorites.
pretty high up there.
Yeah, what's tomorrow?
It's opening day.
Woo!
Baseball season is officially here.
It's
Um,
back.
which is really fun. I know I have a coworker who's missing it because he's going to the Rangers opening day. And
Oh,
which is like kind of cool now that I'm
I
like,
would
oh,
love
I
to do an
have
opening day,
a baseball game like in my backyard, which again I had it with LSU, but like
but a
it's
pro,
just different.
a
Yeah,
MLB.
it's
Yeah.
fun because I'm obviously boycotting the Mavericks right now. Um, that I'm really excited and because I haven't been to Globe Life yet, so that's one that I can cross off my bucket list this summer.
Yeah.
So I'll probably just like go and get cheap seats or something. I don't know if I'll go this
Yeah.
weekend or whenever they're in town, but it's also like kind of cool to be like, because I get half days on Fridays. So I'm like, oh, depending on the game on a
Oh,
Friday, like I can just go to work and go to the game.
yeah.
Um, but it's kind of been a kind of a wild off season because a lot of, like for me as an Astros fan, we lost a lot of our guys. We lost Kyle Tucker to the Cubs. We lost Alex Bregman to the Red Sox, which killed me. We lost Justin Verlander to the Giants. We
What is
lost,
all of Texas just rebuilding
yes,
this
they
year?
just really hated me. They really hated that like I was coming to
The
the
state
state, and they were like, "Well, we gotta, yeah."
move these
So,
guys out.
well, I'm kind of looking at it like a rebirth. It's a rebirth for
Yeah.
me, a rebirth for all my teams, whether I like it or not. But there was also some big trades. I think Max Scherzer, I think went to Toronto. Like all these big
Wow.
guys. Mookie Betts went to the not Mookie,
No,
Juan
Mookie is still with
Soto.
us.
Yeah, no. Juan Soto went to the Mets, and it was like a big thing, like biggest contract ever, I
Yes.
think, until Shohei. Or the guy after Shohei, who's the other Japanese player? I can't remember. Big numbers, insane.
Yeah, I can't think of his name, but I know who you're talking about. I can see his
And
face.
then, so like, it's kind of, and I mean, maybe I'm just paying attention to it more of it now because it really affected my team last year, that it's kind of like a clean slate for a lot of people. So it's kind of, I think the Dodgers are still kind of favored to make it really far.
Yeah, we have everyone back pretty much.
Yeah. And then, but I'm excited to see. And of course, it's also like one of those games, the sports, just like any sport, where like the season starts off and you're just like, ugh. And then anything can happen in July and you're like, okay, we're fine.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. When we were talking about the women's basketball game, Maryland, and how they came back, it made me think of baseball, how you think it could be down 9-1, 9 runs, and then in a split
errors and
second,
like runs, you're just,
yeah, the team gets up. Like, so you never like count it out. And that's the same. Like, there's so many games in baseball that, like football, you really have to count. It's like, okay, you've lost three in a row. Like, oh shit,
yeah.
But with baseball, you could have a bad month and still
Because like
come out swinging at the end.
I was talking to a guy about like the Rangers because I'm here.
Hmm.
They're me some Ranger fans, and I have to tell them I'm an Astros fan, and that there's the year that the Rangers won the the Super Bowl, the World Series. They had to play the Astros to get there, and the
Hmm.
Astros, it was like kind of neck and neck between like who would get one like first in the division, and like it came down to like the last week where like the Astros won one game over the Rangers or something like that to where they got
Hmm.
number one in the division. But like then they had to go play each other, and Rangers came out won. So like again, it's I say this about every sport, but like there's just so much that goes into baseball that I could never put money on it.
Yeah.
At least not until like September.
Yeah. I was gonna
Okay.
say.
But I know that like some injuries have been really big. Like Garrett Cole is out for the Yankees because he had to get Tommy John surgery, which like is probably crushing for any pitcher to hear.
Yeah, that's a
Because who
shoulder,
else?
correct?
Wait, what?
That's your shoulder.
I think
That's
it's
the
like
shoulder.
shoulder elbow. Like I think it's like
All of
something.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, let me look it up. But it's something where like if you're a pitcher, it's not
Pretty
good.
bad. Yeah.
So, like Tommy John. Okay.
Yeah. I'm excited. I
It
love
is
baseball. The visit.
reconstruction. It's a surgical procedure that repairs a torn UCL. The ligament is essential for stabilizing the elbow joint. I don't know why I could not say that, especially during throwing motions. Interesting.
Dang. That's like that ACL
So pain in the inner
in your
elbow,
arm.
instability in the elbow, and decreased throwing velocity. So
Ooh.
yeah.
That just
Oh
sounds
man.
painful. Pain in your elbow.
Oh yeah.
Mm.
The graft is then secured to the bones of the elbow. Like, oh my God.
It's a
So
pretty bad
this is
surgery,
not
it sounds like. Injury, it sounds like. So,
well, like, and it's like a 12 to 18-month recovery.
oh, wow.
So like even if he starts now,
And he
like
had that happen at the end of last year or
no, I think
last
he's like
season?
having it now. Like I think he's having it.
Oh,
He
dang.
he got word like a couple of weeks ago
what it
from two
was.
people to be like, yeah, you have to go do it. So
Oh
like even
man.
if he does it right now, he still may not be able to start until like mid next year. Like it's
Yeah.
crazy. And like that's what happened with Justin Verlander for the Astros. Like it happened in the middle and he like came back mid season, but it, like he missed a whole like honestly we kind of it's really sad, but we kind of forgot that this is our last season with like our last the past season was our last season with Justin Verlander that like when he pitched his last game, like nobody was thinking, "Oh, this is his
Mhm.
last game," because we lost him for a whole season that we didn't really think about him
Yeah.
as like, "Oh, it's over," because it wasn't. Yeah, so wild, but it is one of my favorite times of year. It's just I love a good sport that I can sit outside and eat a hot dog.
Yeah. I
That's
don't know
always my favorite.
why when you mentioned like getting the cheap tickets at the
Mm-hmm.
Rangers, like if you want, I pictured Sex in the City when they all went to the
They all just
game
like
and
sit
had
up
their,
there, yeah, and they just like, yeah,
and they
that's all
were
I want
pretty
to do.
high.
I have to find like some girlfriends here to be like, let's just like go and like do
I
that.
need to come down so we can go to a game and
Yes.
sit up there and then get the fly
We'll see.
ball.
Maybe do they play the Dodgers? Do they play any good teams? See, I haven't
Let
looked.
me see.
I know the Astros come in May.
I know we started looking at baseball because I'm like, okay, that season was coming in the summer, and when we travel, we like to find a game where we're at. So I haven't. I know the Dodgers weren't going anywhere that I was. So I have to see. Actually, yeah, April 18th through the 20th. They're in Texas.
The
They're at the
Easter.
Rangers. Yeah, you're gonna be out here.
I'll be here. I'm like, oh,
Oh
it's coming.
man. And then I think though next time they play, they'll probably be at Dodgers. Um, well, we'll just have to watch another game. Nothing aligns right. Like, why
Edmund's
can't
coming. I might have to look at the Red Sox are in town, so I might have to.
to look at that? So that is a fun activity, y'all. If you for the summer, well, spring opening season. I mean, opening day is tomorrow. But for the spring and the summer, those are really good fun events, especially if you're like out of school and you guys are traveling. I would highly recommend, like, if you're traveling somewhere, to look up and see if there's a baseball game. You could probably find some cheap tickets, or even if they have a good outfield section. That looks like a really, I've never sat out in the outfield, but it looks really fun. And then you get to catch the balls more. The pop fly, or not the pop flies, but
Let's get
home
yeah.
runs and stuff like that. Um, so I highly recommend checking that out since we are in baseball season. Um, so NFL, our last sport we'll touch on this evening. We're not going to get into too much because NFL season hasn't started. They'll be going to training camp. All of that should be starting. We still have the draft coming next month in April. I was about to say June, but June's draft is the NBA. So we have the draft next month. But something big that is happening, that happened, um, the
It makes no
Giants,
sense.
right?
No
The
sense.
Giants, who had no quarterback leaving the end of last season, has two quarterbacks, possibly another, depending on what they draft. But they picked up Jameis Winston, who used to be with he was with Cleveland last year. Yeah, last season he was with Cleveland. He used to be with the Saints. Love him. He's there. And then 2 days ago, and then today, Russell Wilson got signed or traded with them, and then him and Sierra were up in New York today. So
But it
Russell
makes,
Wilson has moved again.
but like, first off, I don't know how he keeps getting these like 1 year deals. And I also
Right.
think he's just mediocre now. I'm not saying he's bad. I just think he's mediocre. I just think it's like, okay, cool. So now you have, I think Drew Lock is still there because he was the one quarterback who got them a
Who?
win last year. And
But now he's
who
backup.
Yeah, but like honestly, I think Drew Lock probably likes to be, or he's a good backup quarterback. Like he's just like,
Yeah, he might be
oh, I
fine
just
in
have
that
to like
space.
do something maybe twice a year. Okay,
What was
cool.
that? Zach off of, is it Zach? what's his name? Um, Off of the Jets when Aaron got
Or Zach
hurt.
Wilson.
Zach
Yeah.
Wilson, yeah, he was like, man, now I got to do something.
Oh, oh no. And then he won that first game, and it was like, oh, wait, hold on.
Man.
You're going to be expecting me to do this a lot.
Don't come out
And
that strong, sir.
that's not my brand. That is not my brand. No, so, but then, like, so anyway, so like to have Drew Lock and then, because all season it was like they were going to get Shador
Yeah.
and like
Or
he had the
Cam.
cleats on and everything.
Yep.
And then they signed Jameis, and I was like, oh, that's a nice like buffer.
I thought that
And
was
then yes,
fine. I was like, that's
I
good.
did. I was kind of
Yeah,
like,
I
you
was
know what, I
happy.
believe this. I think this works. And then the Russell Wilson thing happened, and I was like, what?
And I know they
Like,
talked about it, but I never thought that that was
I
going to
didn't think
come.
that was going to be
Yeah.
the thing that stuck because I just, again, I don't think. I'm sorry, and maybe I'm just like mean, but I just don't see him being like a franchise quarterback
Not
for especially
anymore.
something like New York. Yes, like if this would have been like a mid-season like Seahawks when like he just isn't, and I really am tired of like the NFL keep treating him like he is because I just don't think he's
Yeah.
done enough to like I don't think he's like Kirk Cousins level, but I
Hmm.
do think he's like getting really close to like Joe Flacco level, where it's like I don't understand why he's getting treated differently from the others because I just don't think that I don't know. I'm
And
very
then he's
curious how this
going
plays out.
and then he's going to a team that just has so much turmoil already, and like do they even
Well,
have
like
the
that was
players
him with the
outside of
Broncos.
neighbors? Like,
That was like him with the Broncos, where it was like he
right.
went in and like again, I have been against like the Giants are just a mess. Like ever since
Like
how they
I
handled
probably
the Eli
wouldn't have
Manning shit,
wanted
like
Yeah, I
yeah.
probably wouldn't have wanted to go as a quarterback. Like, just seeing from last year, and then all I have is I don't want to say all because I don't know all their players, but really the only one we hear about is Malik Neighbor, so that's all I have.
Who like a lot of people don't think he likes to be there.
Right,
Like a
and then
lot
it's
of
like,
people are
let me
like,
talk to
I
him
think he's
first.
probably talking to his agent, like
Yeah, I hope he had a conversation with Malik first, and Malik is like, okay, I'm cool with this, and I do plan to stay because
because I
then,
think it's like a big OBJ thing whenever I don't think there was too much tension between him and Eli, but again, like I think that just knowing then that there was just always stuff with the Giants and I don't think they're having like an inner conversation with themselves that like the call is probably
their
coming from
owner
inside the
or
house, but like okay, we'll just keep trying to do all this stuff that I think and then the Saquon thing last season like they're a messy little place and I think that's a lot of pressure. Like I think it's like it'd be one thing to give it to Sanders and like you
yes,
have the like new QB like not stigma but like band-aid over it like hey we're like honestly the Jaden Daniels in Washington thing, where it's like there's not really expectations for you because you're a QB
but then
and
they also
you
put the
in a
right
messy
stuff
kind
around
of
him.
organization. Like,
Yeah,
you know, like you have that kind of situation. So like when things go great, everyone's like, "Oh, look at it." But if it's like iffy, you're like, give
it's
it
his
time.
first
Give
year.
it time."
Yeah.
But the fact that you're giving it to this veteran quarterback who's not what he used to be, like honestly, that's
Hmm.
like a movie that I want to watch because then you have this other guy who I know you were a bigger Colorado fan than I was, but like I do remember that last game. He was kind of shake like there's
Yeah.
still a lot of growth for a quarterback,
That's why I think I
but
was like
like
cool with just Jameis and him
yes,
because
because I think it was probably a good like, but like I think that you have this, and again I'm just making this up, like being a girl, but like I think you have this one, you have Russell Wilson who's just trying to stay in his prime as long as possible, and you're going into this organization that needs a rebirth, and I just don't think,
but they're not there.
you know, like
Yeah.
I like, and I think normally I would be like, oh, go with the veteran so he can train this guy, but I'm like, I don't think this is the veteran I'd want to be training my franchise quarterback, like my future franchise quarterback.
No, and then how can you afford
I don't know.
Jameis,
Those New York
Russ,
teams.
and Shador if you draft high? If you draft that high, you're gonna have a bigger contract if he's one, two, or three, and then you still need to make neighbors happy and fill in what
I
other
don't know. I don't
gaps
want
that you
Nate.
have. But I think like the difference too, like you said with
But maybe that's why
Washington,
Russell's just a 1 year.
maybe, but that's the difference with what you said with the Washington. They looked in internally and they fixed that, and then
Yes.
helped build and prepare Jaden to have a good year. And if he didn't, they still were fixing everything. And I don't think New
Exactly. And that's when
York is
everyone's
stepping up
like,
to
oh
fix
crap.
that. Yeah, they're
They're
just
just look at
sweeping.
look how good they were, and we haven't fixed everything yet, kind of.
They
Oh my
got rid of
God.
their
And their
owner. They
off
got
season,
new,
man,
huh?
who they have signed in their off season.
Oh, Washington. Yeah,
Yes. Oh my God. I can't wait. We can talk about that when some more football
yeah. We're
stuff.
gonna go
Like
into that when
I
we
was
get
like
in,
kept getting those alerts and I was like, oh man.
because I'd love to
Oh
see
man.
who they get from the
And the
draft
draft.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because they got deep. Oh my God, I can't wait. But yeah, so
yeah.
I think I wasn't really phased by Jameis because I was like, oh, okay, I like that. But
What?
then to get Russell, and I was like, this
Yeah,
isn't
that was like,
like it's like one of those things where it's like, oh, you're still operating like the New York Giants. Like you're
like,
still okay.
and then I'm like, why did the Steelers just keep them? Like, even if you put Justin in first, like you can have,
But
because Russ
like
didn't do that
weren't
bad with them.
but
And
weren't but they got Justin's gone, right? Or is
oh, they
Justin still
got rid
there?
of everyone, like their
Yes.
the two main quarterbacks.
Yes. Didn't they turn
I didn't
away
know that.
Aaron?
Yeah,
Is that where the
I
talks
think that was one
ceased?
of the teams,
No, the Vikings.
the Vikings. But
Um,
he did go talk to the Giants too.
he talked to the Steelers though, I thought.
Yeah, he did, but I think he also
Yeah.
talked to the Giants. And that's another thing, y'all. Aaron Rodgers does not have a team yet.
Which like
It's crazy.
and I just need them to realize they're not who they used to be.
I wonder
And I
if
think
Green
it's
Bay.
just a different game now. I was telling someone the other day that I was like, it's just, it's a running quarterback game now. Like, y'all can't, it's not the pocket
Yeah,
guy.
you guys are
Like, you
kind of,
can't,
they're in our era, like when we first started
and
watching.
it's like, cool, but like, you need to go home.
Yeah.
Because, like,
I wonder,
you're
it was,
taking money away from, like, the ones
yeah.
who are going to be here longer.
I wonder if he doesn't find something. It would be interesting if Green Bay gets him so that he could retire. I wonder if they would mend. Because
Oh, I
where are you going to
wonder.
want to retire? Like, if no one picks you up, like, do you just end like that? Or do you pick a team to retire with?
I don't know. I mean, it makes sense for him to do Green Bay, but like just that tension and stuff, I
And then
wonder.
I wouldn't, yeah, that's why I was like, are they going to mend that? Because if he is done, I think even if we haven't been the biggest fans of him, that sucks as a way to go out for the kind of
Yeah.
player Aaron Rodgers has been, to not just have a team or to sit out another year.
I think him as a player is fine. Like him as a person, I'm like, the sucks suck.
Yeah,
But like,
yeah,
oh man,
yeah.
that would
But
like it. That's someone I wouldn't want my career to be like.
yeah, that's what I'm
Hey,
like.
bye.
I would at least want to be like, okay, sign me, and then I'm gonna retire, and so then it's like me going out. I mean, although we can
Right.
see that he's not getting a team, but you're still going out. Like in the history books, it'll be like he retired as
Yeah.
a whatever. But I think
Yeah.
that would be cool if he mended and did retire as Green Bay because of that history with Green Bay, and that's where he was like
Yeah.
everything really, like was Green
Pretty
Bay.
much.
So
He was their next rep.
yeah,
He won a quarter.
so
He won a Super Bowl with them, right? Aaron has a
yeah.
Super Bowl, right? Okay. Like that's how long he's been playing, Aaron, that I'm like,
I know that we don't know.
I
Let
was
me
like, did
let's
we
look that
fake that
up.
up? Like, I really think I saw him have the
We
Lombardi
just feel like
Trophy.
he should.
Like I feel like he had one. He was like the Ben Roethlisberger. Like he had one, and then he never did it
Yes,
again,
he
right?
has won in 2011.
Okay, that makes more sense.
So if that ever comes up, ladies, trivia. Does
Yeah,
Aaron Rodgers have a Super Bowl? He
yeah.
does
Because I
with
was like,
Green
he
Bay.
has. I was like, well,
At
then
least
it's like, and
one.
again, it's honestly, it's the same argument with Russell Wilson because it's kind of like because they have the one, everyone
Yeah.
like lets it pass, and I'm like, oh my God, it was a decade ago. It was a decade ago.
Yeah. I mean, but
Like
Drew
we
Brees
don't.
only had one.
Oh
And he
yeah.
went out a decade after.
So like, but like, I think it is. I think like you get the one, and you're just kind of like excused, and it's just kind of like okay, but
Yeah, because at least you have one. If you don't have any,
like Kirk Cousins and Joe Flacco. Like
then it's
no, Joe
kind of
Flacco has
like,
one
let's see.
because he won with Ray Lewis.
Is she right, ladies and gentlemen? But I
He
don't
was the
know.
Ravens quarterback, right? When they won in the Superdome,
He does have one.
and then
Um, with the
Kirk doesn't.
Ravens.
Wait, what?
With the Ravens.
Yes, and I was like, wait, he was the quarterback then, because it was all about Ray
Over
retiring.
over the San Francisco
Cisco,
49ers.
yeah, I remember that game. That's the Beyonce game. And then
Oh, that was here. Yeah.
yes, I was like, that was the Beyonce game.
Dang, that doesn't seem that long ago, but
So
2013.
it really was. I know
Wow.
because my college boyfriend broke up with me a week before.
See
And I was
how we
like, I'm
relate
going
everything
party
to
in the
sport?
Super Bowl. Uh, but then,
Wait, the Super Bowl's here? I forget you.
yeah, that's really what it was. And I was like, okay, bye. And then, side note, we like go party in this bar and we start talking to these guys, and it's someone he knew him. And I was like,
It's still a
I'm
small place,
literally
a
a city
small
of
world.
millions of people right now, and cool. And I remember like
Out
looking at
of
your
all
friends, I'm like,
these
we gotta
people
go.
in New
We gotta go.
Orleans, I come to
Yes,
you.
exactly. I was like, could meet a Baltimore fan, could meet anyone. Yeah, it was not good.
Right. It's two out of
It was
state
not good.
teams here.
Exactly. And I'm like, oh, I partied with, yeah. But no, because so Joe Flacco got one, and then, but Kirk Cousin hasn't. But
Is he?
like, but I also like don't want these guys to go out. I don't know. I just kind of feel,
But
but
I
like I
think,
think about like Nick Foles has one, and then he was just like couldn't do anything after, and it's like okay, like and maybe you just need to accept that you're like the Nick Foles of things.
yeah.
Like maybe you just need to accept it, guys. I don't.
But at
Nick
least,
accepted it so lovely, and now he has like his own brand, and he's doing good. Like I just kind of wish like they could just like I don't know, like swallow
something.
the pill. That's just how I
But
feel.
I think too, it just Aaron's ends wrong too because of last year. Like you get hyped, you come out and get hurt in the first game, like the
But that
first
was
quarter, and then you don't play,
was
and
it
then you're
that?
getting traded.
Wait, Aaron, I'm gonna sound so old. Was that this past season, or did he just suck this season?
No, that was the year before. He did
Okay,
suck.
but
Yeah.
like that's where,
Oh my
like,
God, yes.
yeah,
Okay, so this is his second year, or
his
this
is
was
he'll
his
be
second
this would be his
season.
third year.
Yes,
It
he
would
just
have been
struggled. See, that's what how
yes,
bad
like
he was.
that's
We
where
didn't
it's
even
like I would get
remember.
it. I would get a storyline, but I'm like, no, I just think you're done. I just think you're
And we
done.
didn't talk about him as much this season
No, we would only ever talk about him
because,
being annoying in the media. That's the
yeah,
only thing that
but I
we
don't even
would.
feel like the media talked about him a lot this season. That's why I'm like, he was out hurt, but because he didn't have a big season, or maybe I just missed all those talks. But yeah, well, I still would hate for him to go out this way. I mean, Tom got to go out in a good way, but obviously that's two different players. Like Tom has all these rings, but
Really,
I
everyone,
think
but Tom got the ring, so that's why everybody forgets that his last season was kind of sucky.
Sucky because he had so many good ones.
Yes,
Yeah, we've been
like,
waiting for Aaron to have
but
another
like
one.
Drew kind of didn't go out in a great way.
No
Like I remember
injury.
watching Drew's last game, and I was like, I really hate this is the last one. I hate that
And he did have an
this.
injury to his hand,
Mhm.
but then we weren't doing good either. So it was like,
Yeah.
yeah, you might as well go. So yeah, we'll see if Aaron, that's something we're following. I'm following in the NFL outside of the draft, obviously, who's going to get who. Um,
We'll probably talk more about that as it gets
yeah,
closer.
we'll get into that. But that was just some big news as far as Russell Wilson going to the Giants. So now they have two quarterbacks, and we'll see what happens with that. But before we wrap up, it is Women's History Month. We are in that the last week of March. It's hard to believe that. I'm on this networking platform. She's got time, and it Women in Sports. It's owned by Swin Cash, who is the I can't think of her title, but she's over. I think president of player operations or player or something for the Pelicans. And she's a former WNBA player. But they posed a question, and I thought it was so interesting. And I have a few, but I wanted to ask you. And then, ladies, if you guys have any, if you're into sports and know, please drop it in. But if you could be mentored by one woman in sports, who would it be? Or several, it doesn't have to be one, but mentored by someone, who would be your dream mentor in the sports world? A woman, obviously, because we're Women's History Month.
Course. I like don't know if I'd go coach. I don't know if I'd go player or if I go
Okay.
like Erin Andrews, like sports cat. Like I don't know.
It's
Who are
hard. I
yours?
know. I sat there and was thinking, I was like, crap. And just so many like women came through, but it was from different areas in sports. So
Yeah.
I said, I had more time to think about this.
Yeah.
But I said, one, Elle Duncan and Jamel Hill. I
Absolutely.
do
Yeah.
love Erin Andrews, but I think Jamel Hill has kind of moved outside of sports and into other things as well. But she started out with sports, or not started out, because I think she did other stuff before sports. But when I like really started watching her, and she was on First Take, and she was on with Skip Bayless on ESPN, um, and I just one because we've talked about our love for like the broadcasting side and just all of that, the media part of sports.
Mhm.
um I think those women are just very unapologetically them, and they don't like try to be anything else, and I just love that, and they speak their minds. I just love Elle's energy too.
Yeah, I do love
um
Elf.
but then I said Sandra Douglas Morgan, who is the president of the Raiders. One, because that would be a dream job, and just I think that's awesome that in that kind of environment, how rough the Raiders are, and for her to be
Yeah.
in there, um, and making some changes, and just I think she's great. And then I said, who else did I say? There was one other person. Oh, Cheryl Miller. I just listened to a podcast interview with her, and she was a former WNBA player. She played at USC, and I just love how honest she was, and in the sports world, and that if you asked her something, like she's gonna give it to you straightforward. And I think that she used to play like in LA, like I guess some of the players from both USC and UCLA, those are big rivals, and they both had like good people on their team. But then you also had the Lakers, that were there, and they would play down at UCLA, I think, at their arena and stuff. So sometimes you would see them there. And some of those players that played in college would talk about like they would go in and they would play against some of these players and all that, and play against the big names in basketball, and that she would play against the men and be just as good as them, and then they didn't go easy on her because she was a girl. And I just love that like she was able to like stand her own,
Yeah, hold her own.
and
Yeah.
huh,
Yeah, like hold her own. Yeah.
yeah, to hold her own, and the respect that she has from the men
Yeah.
in this sport. And I think she even still has like a lot of knowledge and just expertise and just all of that she's feeding these young women that are coming in this in the
Yeah.
game. And she's like been with Juju and mentoring her and just some of the other players. So those would kind of like be mine. There's a lot, because like Aaron Andrews, and then there's other coaches too, like Becky Hammon, who
Yeah.
was one of the first in NBA coaches on the NBA staff. So um those would be mine, but it's
I
like
like
really
those.
hard.
No, it is like, and that's like even you just talking, I'm like, oh yeah, like I think Elle or Aaron would take my broadcasting like mentor, like
Hmm.
because again, I think that they've been able to like kind of break a lot of ceilings with being
Yes.
authentically themselves and not like, oh, I have to do that, like kind of like making their own spin and to be in the game is like their longevity too. Like it's
Yeah.
not like they've like phased out. It's like, no, that's
They moved
still
up.
Aaron
Yeah.
Andrews still has the spot. Elle still has that desk. Like, no, like they haven't just been like, oh, you're 40, so we have to like they've like really kept it and whatnot. And I think that that speaks
Hmm.
volumes. I probably would do like I don't know. I think, I mean, Kim Mulkey would scare the shit out of me, but I think like just
She was
learning from her of like
yes.
kind of like her and like Simone Augusta, like I think that'd be like a really cool like dynamic to learn about like, because I mean, Kim's like one as a player, as an assistant coach, and as a coach with numerous organizations. I just
Hmm.
think that that's like has to be a wealth of knowledge. But then I think about like Janie Buss and how like it was her family business, but she had to fight out her kid, like her brothers, and like look what she's done
And men in
as an
general.
owner
Yeah.
and whatnot. But then I think about Becky, and it's just like all these women who have really done it. And like, I know she's younger than me, but like, I'd want to sit in a room with like Simone Biles and just be like,
And she was here in Baton Rouge.
oh my God, I know.
Marcus was like, she was at LSU. I was like, what? Down the street? I could have
Yeah, she's
been
like
there.
taking pictures about like Mike the Tiger. And I'm like,
Jealous.
everything happens in Louisiana as soon as I leave.
But I
I
was
mean, I
down the
say that, and I'm
street.
like, I still would have been at work. Like, it's not
Right?
like,
Because I was like, I was down the street.
yeah, I don't think it's still with a, yeah. But I
Like, why
think that
couldn't I have
there's
been
just, and I
walking?
think that's really fun to think about all the women who've really kind of dominated it since. And like, I know that we've talked about like it just wasn't like that whenever we were younger. That I think it's so important to see them because I do think that like if I had a daughter, I could be like, I couldn't do it, but
You.
like you can. Like
Mm-hmm.
we literally had Erin Andrews. Like I remember like
Yeah.
she was the one sportscaster who I think you could tell was doing things differently to where, but like even you and I know like there was that token blonde at the desk and it was like more about them asking questions and not necessarily their opinions and like
Yeah.
their takes on things. It was more like the moderator of the like the
Yeah.
secretary of the desk kind of situation. So I
You
think
could only
to
be a
see how far,
host.
yes. And so I think that to see where that's taken, I don't know, makes me really proud.
Yeah. You're definitely, it's still like low number of coaches in, even in the college basketball, women coaches. But it slowly is moving up. I think it's like only 43%, which is crazy.
Oh
Um,
wow.
but a stat that came out um, this week that I saw too within women's sports, which is exciting because we do have all these women now. Like you said, when we were growing up and I was watching, it was Erin Andrews. Oh God, I can't. Pam Oliver.
Bam. Bam. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was almost like just one per. I mean, Erin and
It
Pam
was
ended
Pam,
up on the same, but
Pam Aaron, and then there was the other one, and I can't even think of her name.
Susie
I think so.
and then Lisa, but she was more basketball, I think. Lisa Salt. I'm saying it wrong. I know it, but I don't want to say it wrong. But yeah, but now we have more, and then definitely in the exec in the office, in
Yeah.
the execs room and stuff like that with basketball, and like just like Swin Cash, like she's over player
Yeah.
operation or whatever you call that. I can't think of right now of the Pelicans, you know. And I mean, her background was basketball, but then for them to trust, like, you don't have to just go work for a women's basketball team. Like, no, you have the knowledge, so
Okay.
you can do it
Yeah.
here for the NBA. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's anyone who plays basketball will understand what you're saying, or you know the game. But women's sports are projected to earn $23.5 billion in 2025, which
Awesome.
is
Look, they keep
crazy.
talking about how like people are sleeping on
Yeah.
women's March Madness, and it's like,
And I just think back, and it was a couple years ago when they showed the weight room and what women at and during March Madness, the
yes,
tournament, how different, like the
it was
weight
like the
room.
year after COVID. I think it was like
Yeah,
2021, and everybody
they
was like,
had like what we
"What?"
would have in our home gym, like a little rack of 10 to 20
Yeah,
weights,
and
and
the
then
guys
10 to
had it
20
all like
pounds.
decked out. Yeah,
And they were just like in the back of the gym, like where they put up the pipe and drape, and like, oh, that
yeah.
section is the gym. So
And you know
it
that,
is
I
exciting.
just feel like they had those girls, and they were like, "Never again,
Yep.
never again." And then the next year, they
That's
made
the
sure.
that's the good part about this generation, and then the fact that we do have social media, that more people were able to see that. But this generation will speak up and say something
I
if
know
they
that
don't
because
like it.
even Angel Reese is kind of talking about her generation of players of like they've broken the mold,
Yeah.
and that if these next players are paid more than them, they're like, I'll just sit out. Y'all can be fine.
Yeah, they're gonna have to They're gonna have to look at college differently because they've already
Which
messed up
is
with the
good because they
NIL.
needed to. It's
Yeah,
about time.
they definitely need to be paid. So, um, but that's it for Girl Chat with Sports. I think our biggest thing is that March Madness and just how
Yep.
women are rocking it all year. Not just this month, but we'll celebrate them all
Always. We're
year.
not going anywhere.
Yes. That's the whole point of this podcast, even though we talk about men and women's sports, but just empowering you to know a little bit more about the game and the storylines. So, thank you for joining us. Be sure to like and follow us on Instagram and subscribe here on YouTube to keep up for the latest episodes as we get back in our groove of Girl Chat, and we're ramping back up into our fall sports, spring sports. So, lots of action happening, and we just can't wait to talk to you again. So thank you for joining, Meredith, all the way from Dallas,
Thank
and
you
I'm
for
glad you're
having
settled
me.
in. um and yeah, so we'll see you guys next time. Have a great day. Bye.